Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at an interesting Haven deck. This is an Aegis based Haven deck, predominantly, but it's got some interesting cards in it that really caught me off guard, I guess I would say, and odd numbers of certain cards. This deck performed oddly well, I would have to say. You're running a lot of one-offs, which I guess are techs against most other decks from what I've seen and played. The obviously triple globes are pretty common now, triple beasts are a staple. You are running one red brand knight, which I guess blocks out Roach and OTK Dragon sort of combos, which is really good. You've also got the Star Torrent, which is another way to counter Roach or Blood decks, so that's another decent counter. Most of the rest is pretty stock standard for the lower end. Then you get into some of the odd numbering. So 2 Priest of the Cudgel, good for banish, good for removing things, so I can understand 2. Tribunal at a 1, I guess the single random removal is definitely a good advantage and can limit Bahamut players, so that's not so bad. You are running triple winged sentinel, which combos nicely with the other amulets that you're running, so I can understand that, plus the 3 burn damage is pretty good, along with the March Hare's Tea Time at 2 for the bodies and the burn. 1 Judge of Retribution, I'm guessing mainly because you get the draw a card and you get the banish effect without an evolve, and so running 1 at a 6 drop is a reasonable drop. Then you've got the triple Decree, so your clears, triple Curate because of the healing, you really want to just bank your board so they can't kill you sometimes. 1 Odin as a tech to clear things such as amulets, 1 Dark Angel Olivia because the evolve points really make this deck a lot stronger, and of course the triple Aegis, so you can guarantee an Aegis play towards the end of the game. I was a little skeptical that this deck would do well in Master Rank, but I consistently won with this so far, and I'm quite happy with how it's performed. Maybe there could be a few adjustments, like dropping Red Brand for something else, but I think Red Brand is still a solid card, so it's worth running. So we'll check out the games and go there. The first game we've got here is against Blood. Blood is being semi-common at the moment. I would say Blood, Forest, and even Sword has started to pick up a little bit. I'm not sure what's up with Sword, but I've seen more Sword today than I have for the last probably week. So we start with a solid hand, Globe and Double Beast Calls, both good. Would be nice if we got something to deal with Blood's early game though. We are going to pretty much outplay this Blood. That Snow and the Black Inscription are perfect counters to most Blood plays, so they were ideal draws. Couldn't have asked for much better. And seeing Blood not really play anything on turn 1 and 2 gives me the initiative just to play what I like. So Blood Moon, so we know we're looking at either a control or a really heavy vengeance deck. And Snow White, perfect. May as well play it out, no point playing the Beast Call yet, when we need something on board going into turn 4. This is where something like random removal comes in very handy. We can remove that awesome looking Belf. Just look at Urias's abs, like just look at his pectoral muscles right there with his nice little necklace. I also decide to hit this Snow White with the evolve so we can ram it to the face, get that 2 damage, hopefully get them to remove it. Which they look like they go for that option with the Wardrobe Raider. But Snow White will just come back again anyway. So we've actually got a really good hand. We have pretty much an ideal curve. We're not worried about using evolves because we do have Dark Angel Olivia, which at a 1-of is always good to have in a solid control deck like this. And we have the perfect play in this March Hare to get 5 damage to the face this turn, while also trading off. And that Tribunal is going to make it hard to play anything in the next couple turns that won't be easily cleared off the board, so Blood from here is going to have a very uphill battle against this deck. Especially when I've got Odin's, Heavenly Hound, Black Inscriptions, another Beast Call just to stack the board. Do decide to take the Holy Falcon Evolve for 4 damage. They've healed up a lot and I really need to limit what they heal so that when we do get to our later game plays I can just swing for a single turn. Plus, I'm not too worried, the dog will block out this Bane, protecting me pretty nicely, and if it doesn't, it's still going to be enough. We do see another Belf, This time lowering their stats to 10, which is perfect, putting them right in range of a Aegis play later on. Killing my cute little puppy. How rude. Blood just seems to love to devour puppies. And Black Inscription being the perfect cleanup for that turn. And since I don't really have a use for Branch Knight, we're just going to play it. And next turn, if required, we could have Odin'd, but this spawn is going to force the Decree. Just so I don't take too much damage. This is where something like Knight would have actually probably come in handy. I could have used that to limit the spawn's damage a heap. But that play was still fine. I mean, we set up for our next turn quite nicely. If we need to drop Aegis in the next turn, we can. But better off probably dropping the Dark Angel Olivia, especially now that they've played their own Olivia. I can deal 3 damage, trade off the Knight, keep an Olivia on board, and set up for either Odin or Aegis next turn. Which, if we manage to drop Aegis onto a board, we can pretty much go for lethal here. Glorious wings of my Dark Angel. Really solid plays. That's why I do like the Dark Angel in control decks. Plus, it'll be sad that we're losing that to rotation. So we've got Odin, we've got the Dark Angel played out, so we've got the extra points. We can drop this Aegis, trade it into the 4/5. We have Odin next turn to remove that amulet. Sorry, to remove that amulet effectively. So being able to clear that amulet in the most effective way possible. And their healing isn't going to be enough. Oh well, with that vampire it will be though. So they will just survive this. If they just clear this 2-1 here. Which of course they're going to do. So unless I can draw into something else. And Curate is actually not a bad play, but we can just throw down the Odin, remove that, throw down the Heavenly Hound. If we want, send that Odin to the 7/5 just to clear it off. Ram 10 to face, put him to 4. The ward should block out any major damage as long as they don't have something like Razory or some form of combo like that. And fortunately for me, it doesn't look like they do. So being able to just throw what we need out onto the board. Decreeing. Hitting for 10. Control on control definitely drags out the time of the game, but makes it interesting. Next up against our Haven deck is Forest. So I did have 3 games, but with how long this video is going to be if I do all of them, I think this will probably be the last game I'll show off for this deck. This deck is good. I've had a lot of success with it. If you want to give it a go, people don't expect a lot of the cards that are in it, so you can kind of just play it as you need. It might be nice to alternate between this deck and a meta deck if you're looking to get to Grandmaster or something like that by the end of the month. The previous video I did on Dragon is another good deck that I've had a lot of success with, but considering when this video will come out, reaching Grandmaster will be difficult unless you're already in the high stats end, so maybe if you're pushing for Master, this deck might be nice. So, really good hand, lots of different options for different plays. And going up against Forest and having Star Torrent is a really good card to have. But it looks like they're going for a very control-orientated Forest, so we can expect B&B to be the big play for this deck. So if we can stop the B&B, we can pretty much go for lethal from there. We've just got to deal with a lot of this early game so we can get to our bigger drops. And here we go, we got our 1 Star Torrent. Just so we can proc that, trade, and get rid of all their board. Ping 2 damage to their face, keep up our 6 drop, and have Snow White on board as well. This is more than enough to deal with a lot of threats. I actually can't think of anything Forest might have that could really easily deal with this board right now. I mean, Will of the Forest would do a good job, but won't quite make it. But Hector, that's one way to get some nice cleanup on this board. My only decent option would probably be to play the Grim and the Beast Call on turn 5, just so we can clear that off. Plus, since we have Dark Angel, that evolve point isn't a big deal at all. Using it to get a clear is perfectly fine. We have noticed a lot of control decks though, which are just so surprising to see in this last probably 3 to 4 days that I've been playing. Control's really started to ramp up its game compared to aggro decks when it comes to what's around. I don't mind that so much, but it would be nice that when I start playing control deck, I can see more aggro that I could just stomp. So, who knows? We can get rid of this Beauty and the Beast. It is going to cost us the Winged Sentinel and the Falcon. We do get to keep the Tiger, which is pretty good, and a Curate set up for next turn if we need it. But damn, BMB and Arisa, like, Arisa's such a pain in the ass to verse. And I always feel like I'm going to be threatened by Roach, but fortunately, versing this deck, I was really iffy on if they actually even have Roach in this deck. So we get Beast Call. It's a pretty crappy play, but that's about all I could really do. Playing the Curate wasn't worthwhile. It's next turn that becomes more interesting. Because we do have the Odin play, which is pretty much my only good option. I could have went with the Curate, but I really need to remove that 4/6. Plus, Odin isn't very good against Beauty and the Beast, so not a big deal. Another Pure-Hearted Singer. God. Pure-Hearted Singer, guys. Great neutral card. I don't see it being outclassed by anything easily. The only deck that can easily outclass it is Shadow, I think, with the amount of draw power it has. Pure Heart is just that good of a card. So they did stock the board pretty heavily, which didn't leave me with many good options. All I could really do is clear a couple of things, set up for next turn where I can actually do some real damage. But we get to see their own crystal, which gives them an evolve, which they're no doubt going to use on that Lyriel to deal damage to me, so that kind of sucks. At least Lyriel is a pretty looking card. And they're going to leave up this 6/4, which is good. So I can guarantee a full board clear this turn. Priest of the Cudgel plus what we've got will clear out the entire board. We can also set up the red brand as a really nice way to block out any kind of crazy rush damage, which was a little bit of a concern. I mean, we will still die to some Roach combo if they have it, but judging by what they've played so far, the odds were quite low they would, so this was the only option I had to really block out that damage. Next turn gets a little more interesting, because I do have to work out how I'm going to deal with the Forest player. I really need to keep this evolve point because Aegis is going to be the only way I can deal with a Beauty and the Beast again. But I also want to be able to get some damage to face, which is where this Hound is absolutely perfect. Since the evolve is the one that survived, the Hound still gets its effect. My cute little doggo is gonna do his work. And of course, the Beauty and the Beast gets dropped. The Trent also gets dropped, which is going to be dealt with by the 4/1. Once you include the Heavenly Aegis, we should be able to go for 7 to their face, plus clearing the BMB. So a great way to deal with Beauty and the Beast when you have Aegis out. And now that it is out, there's no way they can really deal with it, so easy win from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed those games. This deck is definitely one of the more interesting Haven decks I've had to play. It's got the interesting numbers. I can't go into detail on exactly why each card is in here. If you watched the start of the video, you'd know why I think most of them were in here, but It's hard to say exactly why the person who did design this deck, which it was just pulled from a random Twitter post, so I don't actually have the link to who exactly it was. It was just a random one from the hashtag Shadowverse decks section. But it's crazy good. I really enjoyed playing it, which is important when you're running most of these decks, and it's got a nice lot of variety to deal with pretty much everything. So if you guys enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Find the deck list in the description below. You can also check out the Discord for Shadow Nexus and myself in the description as well, and you can check out Patreon, which should be on screen. So catch you guys next time. See ya.